Hey everyone, Brendan Snyder here. How are you? Up today, we're going to take a look at the British rock group Magnum, and this is their 21st album. These guys have been kicking around since 1978 out there, and we've still got the two mainstays, Bob Catley and Tony Clarkin, as part of this lineup. And this album here, as I said, 21st album by them, and it's a really solid album. It definitely has the features and the strengths of the past albums and everything. But I think what makes this album special is the new blood that's in this band. They've added new keyboard player Rick Benton, who I think does some amazing work with the keyboard arrangements on here. As we know, all the music is always written by Tony Clarkin, but the arrangements and whatnot are what the rest of the band guys bring to this. And so you got him. And then the other person they've added is Dennis Ward. He's an amazing hard rock bassist from Pink Cream 69. But this guy's around everywhere. He does a lot of production work, and when there's a lot of projects out there and things like that, this is a bass player that they usually get to partake in those groups and stuff. So adding him to this lineup, I think, really helps and has really infused some new blood into this lineup, and definitely made this a very special album. And each of the songs that are on this thing, for me, just flows really well from one to the next on here. It's a very majestic sounding album. It's got some classical passages and orchestrated elements to it. But at the same time, it's it's a very rockin' album. And so you've got that rockin' element, you've got the melodic element to it. When it's got the beautiful piano, but it's also got that rip-roaring, searing, burning guitar to it. And it's probably one of the most rockin' albums that they've done in a very long time. Let's talk a little bit about the tracks that are on here. So first up on here is the track, Where Are You Eatin'? It's a big, bombastic, powerful, yet orchestrated hard rockin' number to open the album, and it's definitely got that dual nature to it that I was just talking about, and it's a great way to start things off here. Next up, we've got You Can't Run Faster Than Bullets. This one here opens with a really hard driving guitar riff on it before moving into a dark, sort of sparse passage, before then moving back to that really hard rocking guitar riff on it. The third track on here is called Messiah. Messiah has a beautiful piano opening that's countered by a rocking guitar riff and then a cool orchestrated bit with some amazing harmony vocals on it. It's one of the best songs on the album, in my opinion, definitely one of my top faves. The fourth track on here is Archway of Tears. And Archway of Tears has another beautiful piano with an orchestrated intro to it, but it's got one of those rip-roaring, searing guitar leads on it before the vocals come in on it. And there's a lot of room for the vocals to breathe during that point when they come in. And then there's a beautiful, amazing refrain on that track. The fifth track on here is called Not Forgiven. And this is probably the most straight-ahead rockin' number on here. And it's definitely got a really cool rolling bass line on it, just a really driving bass line, which is why I say this is probably its most straight-ahead rockin' number. And it's a great way to mix it up. You've got these beautiful melodic elements and orchestrated elements, and then you just move into this straight-ahead rock number. Number 6 is the album title called The Serpent Rings, and it's definitely got this long building intro that just builds and builds and builds on it, and it's a beautiful centerpiece to the album. It's nice where it fits position-wise in the album. Track number 7 is called House of Kings, and House of Kings is definitely one of the heaviest songs I've ever heard Magnum do, and definitely heaviest one on this album. It's got some really fierce vocals on it. Check this track out, I think you'll like it. Up next is number 8, and it's called The Great Unknown. It's probably the closest thing to a ballad on this album. It's a very beautiful piece, but it's still got a rip-roaring rockin' chorus on it. It's very ballad-esque, but the way the whole album is, and it's something I certainly noticed on this album is a really rockin' album. Even when they do the ballad here, still a rockin' song. The 9th track on here is called Man, and this track has a very ethereal beginning to it. and then it moves into an orchestrated element before this underlying rock guitar riff comes in on it. And it's just something cool and different. This is probably my other favorite track on here, is this one called Man, so check that one out. Number 10 is called Last One on Earth, and this track here is a very keyboard-centric track itself with some amazing vocals on it. It's very powerful. But the cool thing about it, it's got this cool little breakdown bit in it before it does a cool time change to it. So another, just cool element. This is, another one of the times where I think, each of the tracks on here have been very distinct. I used some similar words in the descriptions of these things, but what I took away from this is not only it's a very rockin' album, but that each track on here has been very distinct so far. The final track on the album, number 11, is called Crimson on the White Sand. And this track is probably the best one to close the album because I think it has a little bit of everything on it. It's definitely got, the rock elements, it's melodic, and yet at the same time it's got some really amazing harmonies and things on it. So it kind of brings a little bit of everything that you've heard on the past 10 tracks all onto this 11th track, and it's a really cool thing to wrap up the album with. All in all, I think this whole album is really solid, but I think these tracks are going to be really great when heard live. So there you go. This is the new Magnum album. It's the 21st album. Artwork by Rodney Matthews, who's done a lot of their artwork over the years, including probably most famously their big album On a Storyteller's Night. There's the back side of this thing. Real quickly to show you the inside of it. There you go. Of course, got a small booklet that comes with it, lyrics and whatnot, a couple band photos and whatnot. But there you go, new Magnum album. Check it out. It's called The Serpent Rings. If you enjoyed this, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. Hope everyone has a great day, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.